In 2012, in the village of Adamsville, Rhode Island, what was then America's oldest general store closed after 224 years. In the age of big boxes and online shopping, New England's surviving general stores face a world of challenges, to be sure. The best general stores provide their communities with something that's not on the shelves or behind the counter and doesn't even have a price: a sense of community itself. 3 of Vermont's most beloved general stores exist today because 3 separate communities refuse to lose that, proving that sometimes saving the store really does take a village.
I always come in and sit down and have conversations with people. It's a way of my staying in touch, because we all live a quarter of a mile apart. And if you don't do that, you quickly get out of touch. Which is what happened here in North Shrewsbury, Vermont, when the last line of Pierce's had to close the store in 1993.
From this part of town, it's a good 10-mile trip, one way, to get to a big store.
So it meant something when this was closed.
It really did.
Fortunately for Sally Deinzer and others here, Paul Brune, Executive Director of the Preservation Trust of Vermont, was willing to step in.
It's really not just about the saving old buildings, it's about putting them to really good use. There are some very important community services and resources that are crucial to building a strong, vibrant community. And one of them is a general store.
The Preservation Trust agreed to assume ownership of Pierce's as long as Sally Deinzer and a newly formed co-op raised money and ran the store.
It was, we can't do this. Well, we don't know unless we try. And we tried and we did it.
15 years after closing and after a lot of hard work, the store reopened in 2009. That soot-stained ceiling? Well, it wasn't like they didn't try to scrub it clean.
100 years of cigar smoke and creosote. The old-timers come in and they look up and they say, it hasn't changed a bit.
It also took a village after the heart and soul of Barnard, Vermont closed in 2012. Tom Plattner, who moved here 30 years ago, helped head up the Barnard Community Trust's successful effort to raise money to buy and reopen the town's venerable and beloved general store. What was the reality that this store would have closed and never opened again?
You know, I don't think that would have ever happened. It's too important to this town.
Okay, all set.
This couple, God bless them, they came in, they are making it thrive again, and it's just wonderful.
Indeed, a huge part of this store's recovery is Jillian Bradley and her husband Joe, who came on board to run the store and found love at first sight.
I'll never forget the ice cream counter with the sign, and as soon as I walked in, I said, this is it. This is where we need to be.
This is the village. That's the village. Without that, there's a post office, and that's it. But that's the heart of the town, that building.
In other words, tried and true. A description that applies to a number of New England's longtime and landmark general stores.
I've come to a conclusion that each general store represents what the community is and how the community evolved. So our store has evolved with Woodstock, and you know, Woodstock is what Woodstock is.
Woodstock, Vermont is one of the state's most popular and most visited towns, and it and this store looks a lot different today than when Jira Billings' great-grandfather was running things here well over a century ago.
I'm standing right on the edge of where the original building ended, and what you see from here to the front is the old, little tiny general store that existed before my grandfather started.
Today, F.H. Gillingham spreads through a maze of aisles and rooms, a store and a town's evolution.
I would hope that he would be very proud of us.
And finally, a riddle. How can a nearly 200-plus-year-old general store be nearly lost, then, only a year and a half later, be, in fact, completely lost, and yet today be standing good as new? The answer? Because it's in Putney. Sitting in southern Vermont along the Connecticut River, Putney is a quiet Windsor County town of about 2,500 people. Perched just above Sackett's Brook, the Putney General Store has presided over the center of town here since 1796. Think only cats have 9 lives? On the night of May 3rd, 2008, faulty wiring led to a fire on the store's 3rd floor. Thank God for the volunteer fire department.
They saved the building.
Indeed, the Putney Historical Society, with members like Betsy McIsaac and under the leadership of Lisa Papazian, was able to purchase the building and help shepherd the rebuilt store back to life. The town rejoiced, but the elation was temporary. Only a year and a half later, an arsonist did what the first fire hadn't: reduced the store to ashes, gone.
It was a death in our town.
People expressed their anger and their sadness, and there were tears, and people were frustrated.
With townspeople gathered at the church across from the store's charred lot, Paul Brune led a meeting.
After a lot of discussion and a lot of tears, someone said, you know, we can't allow our community to be defined by an arsonist. We've got to rebuild.
Donations poured in, timber and labor were donated, the store did rebuild and reopen, and the healed heart of Putney, Vermont beats once more.
What's the lesson of Putney?
Perseverance and passion, and a lesson that community members can do just about anything.